Λοιπόν, γεια σας, καλώς ήρθατε. Είμαι ο Πάνος, είμαι από το HackTheBox. Είμαι community manager, whatever that means. Okay. Και εντάξει, αν και είναι ένα συνέδριο για developers, θα μιλήσουμε λίγο για hacking. Τι σχέση μπορεί να έχει αυτό με τους developers. Και να αναφέρω λίγο για το HackTheBox που δουλεύω. Ναι, θα το αναφέρω και αυτό λιγάκι. Ένα intro. Επίσης, δεν ξέρω πόσοι από εσάς το ξέρατε, αλλά έτρεχε και ένα CTF τις τελευταίες 2 μέρες. Οπότε, άμα έχετε κάποιες ερωτήσεις σχετικά με το CTF, τόσο τώρα όσο και πιο μετά μπορούμε να κάνουμε κάποιες ερωτήσεις, να το συζητήσουμε άμα ακολουθήσατε κάπου. Ωραία. Αρχικά, ποιος είμαι εγώ. Εγώ ξεκίνησα σπουδάζοντας πληροφορική και έκανα και ένα μεταπτυχιακό και τα δύο είναι στην ΕΝΑΣΟΕ. Πληροφοριακά συστήματα σπούδασα. Εκείνη την περίοδο του μεταπτυχιακού περίπου ξεκίνησα να παίζω CTF και είμαι και από τους πρώτους που έκαναν register στο HackTheBox. Και δηλαδή πρέπει το ID μου να είναι διψήφιο. Αλλά όταν έβαλα ένα τυχαίο password, γιατί λέω εντάξει μωρέ, δεν θα ξαναπαίξω HackTheBox, τι σχέση έχει, και το χάσα. Οπότε απλά το λέω έτσι σαν ιστορία πλέον. Έχω δουλέψει σαν penetration tester στη Neurosoft, αν την ξέρετε την εταιρεία, για 4 χρόνια. Και αυτό που είναι κάπως σχετικό είναι ότι εγώ όσο σπούδαζα είχα στο μυαλό μου ότι θα γίνω developer. Ναι. Okay. Should I turn? Yes, I can do it in English if you would like. You should have interrupted me earlier. I just assumed everyone here was Greek. Yeah, it's okay, it's okay. You missed the part where I was talking about myself, so you didn't miss anything. Yes, so initially I wanted to become a developer. Somebody in the university that I was studying had the terrible idea to teach us programming with Java. The first programming language that we learned was Java. Imagine every other university seeing like the print hello world as the first example, and the same thing in Java, you know it already, it's like 5 lines. And like the professor had to go through each of these lines, was like, public static void main, yes, okay, you don't know what that means, ignore. System.out, you don't know what that means, ignore. But print hello world, yes, you understand that. So that was our introduction to programming. And somehow a lot of us still liked it. So yeah, I also did an interview to get a developer position, but at the same time, I got another offer, and I didn't become a Java developer. And years later, I'm very happy, because I thought that being a Java developer would be my one-way ticket to depression. So I let my other hobbies lead me to depression, but not my job. So why switching up from developer, whatever, to security? Okay, I thought it was cooler. I saw the professor, he talked about some concepts, some security concepts, and I thought, okay, this sounds way more interesting than being a programmer. I don't think it was that cool when I started doing it, but the initial idea was nice. So, very brief introduction. I try to not be salesy or marketing, but let's talk about what is HackTheBox. So, the easiest thing to explain it is HackTheBox is a platform where you can train your cybersecurity skills, but you can also learn. So, we have 3 platforms. One is for learning. It's called Academy, academy.hackthebox. One is for practicing, which is the main labs. It's apps.hackthebox.com. And another one is the CTF platform, which is for competing. That was it. That was a small plug. So what happens with developers, and this is more from my experience as a penetration tester. Okay, what you normally see in the field of penetration testing or security companies, hackers, whatever, they tend to have this idea that like developers are stupid and we are the more clever ones because we manage to break stuff. But I think that's totally not the case, because from all my experience, I think that developers know their stuff better than we do. And the problem is, first of all, it's like the goalkeeper in soccer. It doesn't matter if you do like 30 great actions. If you get a silly goal in, you look like stupid. But the other thing is what it's missing from most of the developers is context. And let's try to see a case of a vulnerability, which most of the times it's a context thing. So there is a type of vulnerability called indirect IDOR, which means insecure direct object reference. So what that is, it's an access control vulnerability. Okay, that's a difficult word. We will say another word instead of vulnerability for it. Okay. Okay. Access control vulnerability. 7 out of 10. Okay. And so when this happens, a lot of times when developers are programming an application, sometimes they assume that the only place that the developers have access to input stuff to an application is through input fields. But there are a lot of times where a user can provide input in different fields. So what I experienced, story time. The most simple case of an IDOR that I found was I was pen testing an internal messaging tool for a company. And okay, it was a messaging tool. So I sent a message to Effie. And I saw that my browser had the URL hackthebox.com/message/ID equals 10. If you change the ID from 10 to 11, you would see the message from George to whoever else. That was the most, and I pretend to be a hacker because I changed one number in the URL file, but in the URL address. But a lot of times this happens quite a lot with, for example, attachments. A lot of the times, developers, when they add the attachments that somebody can access, they rely on JavaScript to hide the files that they do not have access. So let's say I have access to files A, B, and C. They only show me these files and expect me that I won't get access to the rest of it. But if I provide the address of the D file, which is not included, it works. So I don't think I have written any remediation for it, but the easiest part of this is just do correct access control, right? Do check the cookies, check the session for everything that you want to access. One of the other reasons I mentioned IDOR is because there is something that it's called the bug bounty hunting. So a lot of times if you find the security misconfiguration in popular companies, it could be like whatever company really, but let's say everybody in this example uses like Facebook or something. So let's say Facebook. So if you find a way to hack Facebook and you told that to the Meta company, I think they are called now, you are getting paid a lot. And there are certain platforms which allow you to come in contact with companies to do this job, and they post a lot of reports. And the IDOR vulnerability, because, okay, change the URL to get another message, it was the most simple form. This is still simple, but it still works a lot of it all of the time. But I think it's the most commonly found vulnerability. So it's a lot more IDORs there than kernel attacks or whatever. So for the next part, I have prepared a mini workshop. I will solve a challenge which was not in the CTF that you participated. Yes, I will solve a challenge. Before that, as I'm setting up, does anyone have any questions? Okay, expected. I didn't say something that interesting. Just give me a second because I don't want to log in and everything in public display. I will just plug it in right after. I know you all look very trustworthy, but I tend to be paranoid. It's from my experience. Oh, sorry. It's going to take a minute. So, if you are ready. So, this is from our annual CTF, which is the biggest one that we do. It's called Cyber Apocalypse. Gets close to 13,000 people each year. Yes. You cannot read anything. No, because it's a challenge. It's not a dark mode thing. It's just the CSS of the challenge. Just imagine it's something very pretty. I will try to explain what is on the screen. I was trying 2 minutes to plug the HDMI to my laptop. I won't try to find which is the correct light switch. I'm sorry. Okay, so for those on the back that you cannot see what is going on here, there seems to be some kind of support ticketing system. There is a single box where you can write some text and you can send it. And that's pretty much it, okay, in this screen. So we can try to type whatever. I'm just typing nonsense. And when I'm hitting send, there is a message appearing on the screen which says that an admin will review your ticket shortly. Okay, since this is a CTF context, this is probably a clue. So what that clue hints me towards is that there is, okay, it's stimulated, but there is user interaction. Somebody sees our text. With some experience, this will automatically trigger to your brain the idea of an XSS attack. Most of you probably already know, but I will go over the XSS attack very quickly. What an XSS attack is, it means cross-site scripting, but you can also call it a JavaScript injection, because this is what it is. If a website, a web application does not sanitize the text input of a user can treat this and change this to XSS code, which runs. The problem is you cannot use this to hack the server because, as you know, JavaScript does not run on the server, but runs locally on its separate browser. But since an admin will review it, we can interact with the admin. So, in order to get access as that admin, the way is to try to steal the session cookie. Okay, all of you know, I'm just going to say it in case there is someone that doesn't know. HTTP is stateless. It runs based on cookies. Press it, it's okay, whatever happens. Keep pressing. Okay. What I was saying. Cookies. Yes. So if we manage to get the cookie of the administrator user and we set it as our own cookie, we would be able to refresh the page and being logged in as an administrator. So how can we do this? Hard way. We know how to write JavaScript code to do that. Easy way. We type in Google XSS till cookie. Nice. I will keep on the same screen. I will just say everything from here. So if you ever want to try hacking, there is a very interesting page. It's called hacktricks.xyz. It's from, you can call it a friend of ours. And there is also the theory of each attack at the top. It's nice. So it has all different payloads that you can use for XSS. And let's go over this payload. Does everyone see this? Do I need to? Where did it go? There it is. So what this JavaScript code tries to do is it tries to load an image. The source is something that does not make sense. And in case an error happens, it tries to access a resource from our server IP. And it adds a slash and adds here it says document.cookie. And then it adds the cookie as part of the URL. So if you are running like a server, you will see a GET request for your IP /c equals session cookie equals whatever, and not the cookies, actually. So, we got our payload, which is nice. And now we want a server. We cannot host a local server right now on our PCs because we have to enable NAT and all that kind of stuff to be visible from the internet. But you can find stuff on Google as well. There is a site that it's called webhook.site, which does this precise thing. So when you visit it, it provides each and every one of its users with a unique URL. So for this example, this can work as your personal server. If somebody's a pen tester here and try to do this for their job, don't use this site because you will publicly expose your client's cookies on the internet. So let's try to combine what we already have. So we just copy-paste everything, and we replace the IP with our... Okay, let's try to see if this works, because it's a live workshop and it will not work. It did. That's the first time. Okay. So for some reason, there is probably an explanation. I haven't thought about it. We get like 30 different requests, which is the same request over and over. Okay, whatever. Each of them works. So as part of the string, we also got this. Can you see this? Let me... So we got a hit in our server with a session cookie. So let's try to set this cookie and see if we can find something else. This is the part where you hit F12, but I'm using a Mac, so I have to do it this way. So I don't think I can make this any bigger, but what I'm doing is I'm opening the developer tools on Firefox. I'm going into the storage option, going to the cookies for this particular site, hitting the plus sign on the upper right corner, And we have to change the name. We know the name. We saw the name of the session cookie was session. And we add the value. Okay, now we have the same session cookie as the moderator. And at this point, I realized I skipped an important step, but I will just describe this step. When you are visiting a website or a web application, you want to find all the different endpoints of this application. So the slash whatevers of this. There are many tools that you can do it, dir search, whatever. If you are using a Unix distro, hacking Linux distro, for example, Parrot, which I'm using. Where is the simple terminal of Parrot? There it is. So you could just use dirb, which comes pre-installed, then you add the IP, and then it tries to find the different endpoints. Okay, I have done it, I know the endpoints. So there is an endpoint called /admin. And if we try to reload with our new cookie, we get a replay of the XSS attack with our cookie. Okay. And now we are inside the ticketing system. So if this was, okay, you don't see. So this is suppose different tickets that are submitted by different users, okay? Some of them are, so we see somebody saying about losing his RFID for the vote, whatever. There are some things, there is our random stuff that we typed. Somebody else uses this instance in this moment. Yes, you in the back?
You can change the CSS, the background.
Or can I?
No, it won't work here.
I'm not sure how to do that. Okay, it's just different tickets. In the real world, just by looking inside this, you may find very sensitive information of the company. You can even find tickets by people that I tried to log in with my password, which is password 123, and it didn't fail. Okay, this is not the case. So you try to see what other things that you can find in this application. On the right-hand corner, there is a message that says you are logged in as the user moderator. And there is also a settings page. So if you go to the settings page, okay, it's not exactly settings, but it's a password reset. So, okay, there is one security vulnerability in this already, which is it doesn't require you to provide the previous password. But okay, let's ignore it. And let's try to change it with whatever. And we can see that it actually changes. Password for user moderator changed successfully. That's the message. So we want to see how this request looks like. We can either pass it through a proxy, or we can try to see the network tab. But since we're going to use a proxy for the next step, let's just use it already. Let me see if I have... Okay, in case you haven't seen one before, this is a proxy. This is the most famous proxy for pen testing. It's called burp. And besides a proxy, it has some other functionalities as well. It also has a scanner for the paid version. And and some other stuff like a decoder or whatever. Okay, we just use the proxy, and if you download the free version, the community version of Burp, the proxy and the repeater, it's included. So we can try to intercept all the traffic that comes through our Firefox browser. Does anyone see this? No. Can you see this? No, eh? Okay, it doesn't matter. It's very nice if you see this. Okay, so what it is a normal HTTP request. Nothing interesting in the headers or whatever. It has our cookie that we used. Okay, and at the end of the data, at the end of the request, it says the value of the new password, which is expected, and it says the user ID, which the user ID is a number. You can imagine that this is how the password reset would work for any user, right? So what you can try to do is you can try to fuzz this value. The ID 100 is for the moderator. You can try to fuzz this value to change the password for pretty much every user. So there are some ways to do this. You can add it to intruder and try to run it through all the numbers. Okay, no need to do this live. I know the answer to be the number one. So if you change the user ID for, if you change the password with the user ID equals 1, you get that the password was for the user admin was changed successfully. So now the admin account has the character A as the password. So if we try to go back in the application, I hit log out. And I have to remove my proxy if I want it to work. Okay, and if we go to the login page, it's a little slow because I'm using my 4G to connect to it. I know. We managed to log in. And since it's the most, the higher level of privilege that you can get, this is where the flag is. Okay, you don't see anything. In the center, there is the flag. You can copy paste it and put it on the flag submission page to get the points. So that was pretty much it, the application. Do you have any questions on what happened because you were not seeing half of it? And you were relying on my descriptions? Yes. Yeah. Yes.
The only way this works is because we are an HTTP site without secure cookies, right?
Nope. No, we are an HTTP site. You mean we are not HTTPS?
Yeah, if we were HTTPS, we couldn't get the cookie if the cookie was secure, right?
No, the reason we are HTTP, it's not for this challenge to work. It's for, we are running Dockers, so we spawn on different IPs and it saves us as HackTheBox a lot of time from having, correct me if I'm wrong, from having to generate SSL certificates all the time. This would still work. The problem is that JavaScript should not have access to the cookie. First of all, you should not have been able to run JavaScript. The user sanitization, the application should sanitize the provided text in the ticket, first of all. If for some reason JavaScript was running for whatever reason, JavaScript should not have access to the cookie. I don't remember how you set this up. Maybe it's the HTTP only flag. But this is the beginning of the attack, yes. The second part, it's an IDOR. because it doesn't. You need to match the user ID with the cookie to know that. Okay. Okay. Anything else? No. Let me do another plug then. We are running the business CTF, which is a big CTF that's running for companies. So in order for you to participate, you are going to need to register with a business email account, so not a Gmail, like at HackTheBox.com. You need, if you are the first from your company, you have to register your company. It's a very simple process. You just have to add the domain and the website. So you can find a lot of challenges. Some of them are easier than this one. And we are also going to have 5 coding challenges. So even if you don't have any experience with security, I cannot say the exact content, but for example, we can have like a challenge where we give you the structure of some nodes and you have to find the shortest path, for example, which is a pure coding and algorithmic concept. So you can try, let me pull up the page really quickly. Just type HTB, business CTF, and you will be able to see a lot of stuff. So if you don't have any other questions, that was it. Thank you. And if you want to ask anything about the CTF or other... you have a question. Yes, go on.
About the CTF.
Yes.
About the challenge, I don't know if it's the proper time.
Ask me now, and if I can reply.
I wanted a clue about the RSA challenge.
Okay. Once I finish, come and I will go to the thing, because I don't remember the crypto challenge from my heart. Any other thing? Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.